In this module, and also in the following ones, we will analyze the theme of luxury combined with sustainability. There is a very interesting subject discussed in these moments by not just by organizations that are in this industry, but by the whole community that is really trying to understand if within one part, not maybe all, one part of luxury organization, there is a strict connection with the concept of sustainability and sustainable development. It is not easy because if we see in this slide the association that's been done between luxury and social frames, social identification, has been far from the concept of sustainability. Let's say traditionally luxury has some connotation, something but positive, some others not that positive. For instance, if we consider a more functional utilitarian role, luxury is associated with an attribution of status, of power, and there is very individual people who have the possibility to make some purchase that are not for everybody because of their price, because they are definitely not convenient, can really determine a difference and determine also on the other side the social sense of envy, of hate, of guilt, because how they can result in hate when social differences are perceived to grow beyond an individual threshold that everybody think as fair. Then the people would start to think that this is too much. And in these years, the fact that there is no middle class, the fact that wherever in the majority of the world, rich are getting richer and poor are getting poorer, this sense of almost hate and guilt has been increasing. And luxury has been considered like the products and service that only a little percent of the population can afford. And sometimes this kind of purchase are completely non-essential. What does it mean? It means that they are useless, basically. So we start from this. This was the traditional perception of luxury that has been really evolving in these years. Why? Because first of all, luxury organizations has moved way far from this. First of all, they started to promote their products to not just a small tiny percentage of the population. They started to market their product differently. First of all, luxury is not just extreme luxuries as we've seen in past modules, it's also affordable luxury. And a lot of companies in affordable luxury has completely reversed this way of thinking, changing their business model and changing also possibly the way they will be perceived by the community as company that instead of creating this distance between the rich and the less rich part of the population, they are more attainable by everybody, and they promote positive values like the durability, lasting long times, and also even if you spend more for some products, lasting longer, at the end you end up spending more or less the same that convenient products that are purchased constantly and more frequently. So this is the roadmap for incorporating the sustainable development in luxury goods. So first of all, a lot of companies started to work with NGO. They started to work with waste. They started to work supporting responsible projects, including people that were more responsible inside the organization, and involving communities in understanding the benefit of the combination between sustainable development and luxury. So a lot of company moved from this idea of self product that is only for the super rich people that like toy that they play with lots of exclusive products, and they started instead to move completely in another direction. For instance, also having more transparency and say, okay, you pay for these products, the quality, but in exchange you have transparency. You know where the raw materials come from, where the product is made, who, what is the uses, how much use of natural resources have been made, and this, is moving towards a more modern concept of luxury that is actually integrating what we call the 3P: profit, people, planet. So sustainability is basically the integration, caring about, of course, economic results, because we're talking about organizations that they have to make profit in order to grow. And so this is definitely one element, but that doesn't have to be the only one. You have to care about the natural resources. We will see what is the problem, for instance, for fashion. Already most of you have read what are the problems related to fashion organizations. That is the second most polluting industry in the world. So taking care, avoiding problems of excessive use of resource, and that could be done by luxury because of the fact that you don't have to produce a lot. You have to produce maybe using current reuse the resources, and so not polluting basically the environment. And then the third, the most important part, I think most important because this is really have to do with the internal vision of an organization, that is people-centered, human-centered. Some luxury organizations are distinguishing themselves not only for the product that they're selling, but for the management, how they care about the people, the suppliers, all the people in the community, caring about the working conditions, trying to avoid problems of situations where maybe you have to produce large quantities and you are not completely in a security safe area. So this is all the combination of these three elements that is bringing luxury organizations to be really incorporating, and we see in different ways the concept of sustainability. This is an interesting chart that actually is, an acronym used in Italy a lot, like slow food and slow fashion. And this is another slow value creation model. This is acronym and slow, but slow makes the sense because slow is the opposite of fast. Fast fashion, fast food, slow food. And this slow, of course, this slow concept have inside the element of the new sustainability concept, because, going slow is respecting each phase of the production, respecting the people, respecting the raw material. And of course, here in the slow, you see the slow model, sustainable luxury for overall well-being, that's the acronym for slow, is when you have high, important of social value, and in the same time high important for shareholder value. So economic results and social results. So you create a business model that basically take into consideration social issues. Of course, all the other combinations, when you don't care about the social value, you don't care about the shareholder value, you get model that in a way or another they are not successful, they are not incorporating this, and that what in the past really seemed almost impossible to be done. So combine economic results with social values. Now it's becoming a business model existing. How this can be done? Now, In order to understand this, we have to go back to the concept of corporate social responsibility. Basically, in the past, the concept of responsibility was mostly economic. So basically, most of the company has the objective to basically make profit. And then, of course, the social responsibility had been declined in different ways. It's been related to a sort of legal responsibility, respect the law. Basically, I have to respect the law, but the law doesn't, fit with being ethical and do what is right, because what is right is actually what is right for the whole world, for the people, not necessarily is illegal. Or basically, what is legal is not necessarily ethical. So basically, you can respect the law, but make people work in bad conditions in certain places in the world. And so the idea is that you have to go over the concept of legal responsibility up to a concept of ethical responsibility, where you are more compelled to do what is right, what is fair, what is correct for the community, and not just for one single person. Strictly related to that, there is one famous framework used in marketing that has been, of course, very much surpassed. Abraham Maslow knew himself that this model would have been, evolving, it would have been changing, because he was saying that basically there was a hierarchy of needs from the most basic physiological needs up to the most less basic, the opposite of basic, superfluous or not so important self-realization need. We are facing at least one major difference in the top. The self-realization needs basically don't come as a first, but as a first is more contextual. Self-realization needs, it is a very big important element that some luxury company have been observed. What is most important is not to be alone, in other words, to simplify, with the one product. I have my Rolex, I have my Ferrari, I am alone, I made it, I'm alone. What they notice in society, that what is good is to connect people within each other, is to connect people with society, is to allow them to be part of a community, of a group, of basically an area where people can share things. And in this sense of more, societal role of luxury, a lot of organization has moved in that direction and have been thinking that was not anymore important the promotion of products that were only the idea of the rich people who made it and had this object to sort of justify that somebody really did it, but they move towards a different direction, towards the incorporation of the concept of having a group of people that share a vision of the world, in which we give importance to some values, and these values are values related to the transparency of how products are made, the fact that could be related to a certain origins, to a certain culture, to the fact that they represent a history movement that been going on for many years. This is what luxury is becoming, and this is actually changing completely the concept of luxury in these years. In the next module, we will see how this concept of luxury is being actually affecting the development of new business models.